Amanda, thank you so much for joining me. I am super excited for our conversation. To kick us off, can you share who you are and what is your wedding business?
Okay, I am Amanda. I am a celebrant who specialises in weddings. I say 99% weddings now. And I'm a destination celebrant, but I'm based in Essex.
Love that. And how did you get into weddings? Has this always been your life?
Oh, God, no. No, no, no. I was in teaching for 34 years. I was pretty good at it. I was quite high up in teaching. You know, I had really confident about everything I did there. I was successful. And it was a time in my life where a lot of things were changing. I was reconnecting with my brother, who'd been estranged for a while. And then sort of out of the blue, after about 3 or 4 years, he died unexpectedly. And so during that time, you know, I'd been talking to him about retiring and I didn't know what I could do. You know, like when you've been teaching for so long, it is everything. And you don't think about all the skills you've got and things you could do. So anyway, brother's funeral I thought would be the worst day of my life. And I started working with a celebrant. I didn't even know what a celebrant was when my parents...
You don't know, could you just quickly detour and give us a quick overview in case anybody doesn't know what a celebrant is?
Well, a celebrant is somebody who basically celebrates life. So that could be a celebration of life at a funeral, or a celebration of a wedding, or a baby naming, or a vow renewal. And in terms of weddings, it's not legal, but lots of couples choose it for lots of reasons. So we create ceremonies, we officiate them. It's all about how we deliver. And you have to be quite a creative person and quite a confident person as well, and a good public speaker.
So you were just explaining how that led into weddings with the situation with your brother.
Yeah, so the celebrant was, I started working with him because I wanted to do the eulogy, and I didn't know whether I could do it, whether I could write it. And he was brilliant. And then I met him on the day, and he just turned something so awful into something really uplifting. And I just had this sense that, firstly, I was like, wow, that's incredible. I'd like to be able to do something like that for other people. What a special thing that is. And then a couple of days later, I thought, well, I could become a celebrant. And then sort of I spoke to people, the idea went through my mind. I thought maybe it was just grief. You know, you get all sorts of crazy things happen when you're grieving. And then school summer holidays came and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to investigate this. So I did. I spoke to that celebrant who's been on my journey ever since that day. It's been really great. And I started training when I was still teaching. And once I'd finished my training, I trained in weddings, funerals, the whole lot. Took over a year. I had more personal bereavements during that time. Once I finished training, I thought I'd do another few years teaching, even though I didn't want to, just for financial reasons. And then I just got itchy feet and I thought, I just can't do this anymore. And I was sat in meetings just like thinking, what am I doing here? I need to go out and be a celebrant. So I just thought, take a risk, just do it. Because
wow. Okay, I'm going to pause you there because I know there will be people listening to our conversation who, you know, okay, they might not be a teacher, but they're in a 9 to 5 and they've got, you know, a side job or a hobby or a small business flourishing on the side, and yet they're still in their 9 to 5. That is actually a very huge leap for people to make. You know, when you think about the financials and maybe people who are responsible, you know, you're responsible for people. And how did you do that? And what kind of decisions did you make as you did that?
Well, I didn't just go, oh yeah, I'm going to do it. I thought about doing it for a while. And, you know, like there's risks and there's calculated risks. So I looked at my financial background, if I needed to downsize, if I could downsize, how much money I could put into this business. And I was quite lucky. So the one thing when people say to me is, you were lucky, is not about how far my business has come. As you know, that's never luck. I was lucky because I had a teacher's pension and I could have stayed and it would have been more, but I just couldn't stop. I just wanted to do this thing. And actually, it went from a risk to a massive risk because I retired in February or something. And then in May, COVID hit and there were no weddings. No. And the biggest thing of all was I hadn't met you, so I didn't know what I was doing anyway. I couldn't get any funding for a new business because you had to prove your previous earnings.
Yeah.
The head was saying, look, you can come back. And I was like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm just going to have to like dig in and do what I can at this time.
But well done you, because how many human beings across the planet don't follow the thing that actually lights them up and that they're passionate about, and instead say in a safe, comfortable, well, this will just pay the bills and I'll just survive over here. So, you know, there are people sitting on their couch right now dreaming of doing something else that lights them up and never taking that step, but you did.
Yeah, because like I think when you have a major life event like that, you realize like this, oh, you have one life. So if you dream of doing something, just do everything you can to make it happen. So if that means, you know, you have to cut back on your finances, or maybe you have to downsize in your house. You know, I've got a friend, her kids have gone to university. She wants to do things, but she's like, oh, you know, when they come back from university, it's like they're grown ups. You have a 4-bedroom house, you know, like they're not going to come and stay for a year. And if they are, then, you know, why did they go to university? Controversial.
But get them to pay rent like my mum made me.
Yeah, I mean, there are, if you really want to do it, I think you'll do it. And just keep that in your mind. Say, like, what's stopping me? Okay, it's your finances. Okay, I can't risk it because of my finances. Well, make it a situation where you can risk it. Make it work for you. Because otherwise you just, you know, what's the point?
Exactly. I mean, you and I align on this kind of mentality, I know. If we were looking at some of the challenges you've had to overcome from a business perspective, so when this started to become a business and was actually, you know, making profit for you so that you could make that transition, what's one of the challenges you've had to overcome?
Oh, there's so many. There are, and the thing is, as you get better at your businesses, the challenges get harder.
They just change, right? It just never ends.
You're constantly evolving. So don't like think, oh, I had a successful year. That's it. I'll just carry on. It never is like that, because the biggest challenge I had was coming from a non-business world and realizing how much I had to learn to be business savvy, mindset, finance, marketing, social media, like every aspect you can think of. I knew literally nothing. So that was the first challenge, is getting my head round how much I had to learn. And it's all about mindset. Okay. So it wasn't I had to learn it. It was just, I spent all those years learning and teaching. I don't want to learn anymore. Getting over that in my head, actually learning it, you can learn anything, most things, you know. So then the next challenge was not knowing what I should focus on first and being totally overwhelmed about where to start, which can lead to procrastination. And sometimes I started on the wrong things and got halfway down the road and thought, actually, there's something in my head telling me, actually, like, I need to do my website first.
Yeah.
Then it was comfortable to not do my website because I'm not a tech person. So it was just like, oh, we'll just put that off for another day and do this, which is actually getting me nowhere. And you eventually, it doesn't matter how hard you try to ignore it, you eventually think, right, get over yourself. You have to address this.
Yeah.
So
true. And I definitely see in the wedding industry people who are amazing at what they do, you know, like yourself, being a celebrant, a florist, a planner, that skill set they have in abundance. But then when it comes to the business side, the marketing side, like you were saying, this is a whole area you didn't even realize was going to be a thing.
Totally. And then sometimes you think, right, I'll do my website. And then you make the mistake of thinking, okay, I have to do my website within, I don't know, a month. So then you throw everything into that, and it absolutely does your head in because there's so many problems. And then you realize you've left something behind that actually you should have kept up. And so however easy it looks when I'm standing there at a wedding and people say, oh, you're so calm and relaxed, it's like, yeah, but I'm thinking about my reel for tomorrow, or I've just realized I didn't send the invoice off that I should have sent last week. They don't see that, but there is always something going on. And you can talk about work-life balance as much as you like. I do this part-time, but wherever I am, my business is always on my mind. Now, that I know I can't help myself. So it's all about managing that. And when you set up a business and you start out in the wedding industry, there's a lot of managing yourself, managing your time, managing your expectations, managing imposter syndrome. It's all, you know, you are the biggest asset to your business. So,
sorry, go on.
you know, if you're not good, your business isn't going to be good. And you can't fake it till you make it. You can't.
No.
People
do see through it. And I think especially in the wedding industry, when people are buying people, they're buying on emotion. They feel it when we're stressed. They feel it when we're running out of time. They just spot it, and it really puts them off.
Yeah, and you have to get over the fact that, yes, your business is all about you, but on the other hand, it's not always about you. So you spend all this time preparing for a Zoom call, and maybe the couple ghost you, okay? And you're like, oh, they obviously just didn't want to book me. They were just being nice. But then they call you back and say, look, we had an emergency. We had to do this. Can we talk to you next week? Or they just don't book you. Well, okay, get over it. It's not necessarily you. You know, the amount at the minute, I'm like looking to buy a car. I have dream cars. I've fallen in love with them. I'm sat in them. Before I've started the engine, I just know there's nothing wrong with them. They're really popular. You know, they might be the top selling car. But for me, it just doesn't sit right. I don't feel right. And so it's all about you, but in a lot of ways, you can't take everything personally. But if you don't book a couple, spend maybe 5 minutes thinking, okay, were they my couple? Was there something I did differently that I don't normally do? What was my mood like today? Could you spend 5 minutes? But don't spend all day thinking, all night worrying about what you did wrong. Spend 5 minutes. If there's something obvious, write it down. Don't do it next time.
You're so right about that. And I see so many wedding pros get them in their own heads and then spend the whole day or the whole evening, like you said, worried that they didn't book that one. Why didn't that couple like me? And that negativity and anxiety means they don't book the next couple either. Because they're so like, oh my goodness, I need this couple to like me. And like, that's not attractive for anyone, is it? Like, not a new friend, not a partner, not booking someone for business. And so you're so right, that like spirals, and then no couples are booking because they're feeling this weirdness.
And also it affects everything. If you let that get into your head, like the next day, if ever that happens to me, I know it's happened to me because the next day I can't think of anything to post on social media. And normally I'm like that. It affects everything you do. I'm like, oh, I was going to email that venue and introduce myself. On that day, you won't do it. On another day, you'll be like, done that. And so it's so important to just get over yourself. It's not only about, if there's something wrong and you know what it is, fix it. Don't spend 3 weeks trying to figure out why you didn't get that deal, because it's not worth it. It's one deal. Just make sure that you're on form to do the next. If you're thinking about the past all the time, you know, what if, it's an ever decreasing circle. You'll just plummet.
Now, Amanda, in our inner circle, we see you doing really well with your PR. You often get featured in newspapers and magazines, and I'm sure people say to you, wow, you're so lucky that you always get featured. Have you got any tips or advice for those wedding pros looking at you going, wow, how is Amanda getting so much PR?
No, all of these things take work. And sometimes, you know, I might get, you know, I've been featured in Woman's Own. Did it get many bookings? Not that I know of, but it's not about that. It's about other people seeing you and playing. You know, you have to pitch to journalists. So if you see a journalist looking for something, or you read an article in the paper about weddings, find out who the journalist is that wrote it, connect with them on LinkedIn and say, great article I saw you did about weddings. I'm just introducing myself. If you ever want anything about weddings, you know, I've been featured in this, or I've written for this, and it becomes like a snowball effect. But you know, of all the pictures I make, I might make 5 a week, and I might get picked up on maybe 2 a month. So,
but then you've got all of the other people who are not pitching at all, and they're looking at you saying, wow, that's a stroke of luck.
And
but you're pitching.
Yes, don't forget though, it's not always about the wedding industry, and also it's not always about your niche. So if someone's asking about wedding etiquette, well, I'm in the wedding industry, I know about that. It might be to do with flowers, or you know, the order of speeches, or what somebody's wearing. One, most people could comment on that if they had a bit of common sense. And 2, as a wedding pro, you learn so much, you know stuff. And the other thing is, sometimes it might be about a personal part of you that you're happy to share, but you make sure you mention what you do and get a link to your business or get your business named. And if you don't, then you'll be like, well, I'm not sure I want to share. You know, you have to get the opportunity, but you can't let people walk all over you. You know, I got somebody featured me the other day, and they used a stock image, and I'd given them images of me doing a wedding.
Oh no!
And it made me so angry.
Yeah.
Now, when I first started in my business, I might have gone, oh well, at least they featured me. Now, no. So I very diplomatically said, oh, it's really lovely that you featured me, but I did send you lots of images with photographers' credits that you could use.
And I know you've done photo shoots with us, so I know you have professional images for them to use.
Hundreds. And I said, it's misleading because people will think that's me. And this person doesn't look anything like me, and I wouldn't dress like that. You know, I said it's things that I'm not happy with. And you have to say that. And if you're working with someone and they don't like it, then maybe you shouldn't be working with them. You know, you have to know your worth.
Yes.
But if you get better, you know, if someone's out there and they're just starting out, they're like, oh, but you know, I could lose the chance. And yes, I used to think like that before. You know, you grab any opportunity. But as you grow into what you're doing, you have to be more assertive and have your boundaries, you know, because it's you, it's your image, it's your business. You have to protect it at all costs, always.
You've given so many tips and pieces of business advice here for anyone at any level, actually, in the wedding industry. You've really been super generous with your findings and learnings over the last few years. But if you could just share one, you know, if you were able to give one piece of advice to wedding pros about their business, about growing their business, what's one thing that you would say for them to focus on, for example?
One thing. Wow.
What's your favorite piece of business advice that you've heard or that you've used in your business?
You have to be in it to win it. So you have to put yourself out there. You don't have to be like, I'm lucky or not. I'm quite a confident person. So for me, it's quite easy to do that. But that doesn't, if you're not a confident person, you find what works for you, you know. So for me, wedding fairs work because I can talk to people. That's my job. That's what I get. You know, Pinterest doesn't work for me because I don't make pretty things. But if you're a cake maker, you might not want to do wedding fairs, but Pinterest might be where you take off because people want to see beautiful images of cakes. So come out of your comfort zone when you can, see what it's like. If you don't like that particular time, go back. You have to come out of your comfort zone sometimes, but work with what you're good at and think about your transferable skills. And remember that to every couple, every detail of their ceremony and their day is equally as important. So for some couples, their cake might be far more important than what I do. They're flowers. So you are the expert. You are the one thing that they want to get right. It doesn't matter what bit of the wedding you're doing. They spend hours and hours looking for you. So there's a hidden compliment in there if they choose you. So once you choose you, go with it. Be the expert, you know, be the best that you can be. Don't ever doubt that, oh, you know, why did they pick me? Or I'm not sure they should have picked me. Or I'm not sure I can do this. Because if they're sure you can, you're halfway there.
I love that.
It's all about this. Without your mindset working in the right way for you, you know, you'll just be banging your head against a brick wall.
And don't you think that confidence is somewhat of a muscle? The more we use it, the more we step out of that comfort zone, the bigger that muscle gets. And we can just keep flexing it and getting it bigger and growing confidence. Nobody sits at home and suddenly wakes up with confidence to do these things, right?
No. It's like definitely that's the case. And actually I'm an ambivert. So sometimes I'm like this, and other times I just need to step back, you know, go out in nature, sit in my kayak for a few hours, not talk to anybody.
What was that word? I think I'm one of those when I'm out on my horse and I don't want to speak to anyone. And yeah, I chat all day.
Yeah, ambivert. Sometimes you're an introvert, sometimes you're an extrovert.
I love that.
You balance.
Amanda, just before we close up, I just wanted to ask you, you're obviously part of our inner circle, the next level. If there's a wedding pro out there listening to our conversation and thinking, like, where can I come and hang out with Amanda? She's in the next level, and they're thinking of joining, what would you say to them?
I wouldn't be the person I am or where I am if I hadn't have joined the next level. I could tell you, I could spend half an hour telling you why. Basically, it's incredible value. It has everything you need in one place. There's no judgments. There's no competitiveness. It's a safe space. You make friends in there. You collaborate in there. And you work at your own pace. And Kelly gets to know each of you individually. And she knows what makes you tick when she talks to you. And she knows, you know, the right way to deal with each and every one of you. So when I need pushing, she knows the right way to go about it, you know, because everybody's different. And that's the great thing about it. You work at your own pace, the approach is differentiated, and you dig into things as and when you need them, but it's all there. And if you just want to have a rant, you can do that. And you'll find who you're, you know, there's friends in the group and there's colleagues in the group for me. And sometimes if I don't want to share things in the group, I'll go to one of the friends I've made in the group and share it with them. You know, and when you meet people at a wedding that are in the group or you go and collaborate, it's just the best feeling in the world. It's just really good, you know. Like I work with a lot of people in TNL regularly.
And from a business perspective, how has it changed your approach to your business?
I'm a lot more knowledgeable. I'm a lot more calm and considered when things happen, when things go right and they go wrong. I'm a lot more sort of humble about it and just take it for what it is, you know. So if I get featured, yeah, it's great, but 2 days later, you know, that's yesterday's news. So yeah, I'll celebrate my wins, but you can't just sit there and celebrate your wins all the time, you know. And you just, everything you need to know about running a business, whether you're experienced or whether you're a beginner, is in the TNL, and it's always being updated. And there's always access to support and help. So, you know, we have a mindset coach, we have a tech coach, we have office hours, you know, where we work together on things. There's something if you're a procrastinator, you know, there's advice if you're quite a shy person and you don't know how, you know, like if you're really shy and you can't do wedding fairs, like, okay, how do I market myself? There's just advice for everybody, whatever age, whatever level you're at, it's all there.
And Amanda, if people have listened to this conversation and they're keen to connect with you, maybe they want to send you a direct message, or, you know, I know you're always open to expanding your network, especially within the industry. What are your platforms? Where do they find you?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm on Instagram at Amanda's Ceremonies. I'm on Facebook at Amanda's Beautiful Ceremonies. I'm on TikTok, I think, Amanda's Ceremonies. And all of those places you can DM me. It's got my email address. Yeah, and I'd love to meet more people in the wedding industry.
So you're open to people sending you messages, connecting with you, and expanding your industry friendship group.
Yeah, 100%. I love connecting with people in the wedding industry, especially if they're in other parts of the world as well, because I'm a destination celebrant. So that's even better.
Amanda, thank you so much for your time today. I've absolutely loved chatting to you.